Hello, it's Saturday afternoon, early afternoon, and I found this beautiful spot not too far from my place and sitting here enjoying the light wind on my skin and the chirping of the birds and the sweet smell of those yellow flowers, which I never know how to call them. And I thought I'd share a bit of reflections with you. Well, with myself, really, and then with you. And I see a lot of posts, both of my friends and various essayists, professional essayists, writers who talk about change. Mm, there is a hope, there is optimism that there will be major change following the turmoil and the shake-up of all the systems, global, national, regional, organizational, personal, familial, that were brought by the COVID-19. And the last few weeks I've been thinking or reflecting once in a while, well, what do I think about that? And as I was exploring this park today, I came to my mind a friend of mine. I won't give any identifying information, it doesn't matter. But some years ago, he had a major medical procedure. Was potentially could have been ended in life-threatening situation. He was in hospital for a while, and my colleague, really good guy, and colleague friend, and but he's worried. He always worries about a lot of things. A lot of things there is no need to worry about, and he's had a habit of being stressed about small things that either do not matter or are not within his control. And he often would come and speak to me, and I would try and kind of get him to see the bigger picture. And sometimes he would, but the habits were very strong. And I met him after he came out of the hospital, and actually in the hospital before he came out. It was after the major operation. And he sounded different, he looked different, was very exhausted, of course, but he wasn't worried about the small stuff anymore. And there was a certain spiritual rapture that happened, and after that, I was so glad for him. He really changed. He was relieved. There was something lighter about him because he saw things in a more realistic proportion, and he lost some of the over worrying and over obsession habits that he had, or so I thought. What happened over the next few months, and it took about half a year until most, not all, but most traces of the change disappeared, that as he went more back to his normal health, physical state, so did his psychological predisposition, and so his habits. And I realized that's the way things are, but in a way I was sorry for him that it didn't stay more with him. And as I'm telling you now, I'm thinking also about my son, who went through a major car accident about 4 years ago, and with serious damage to different bodily parts and to his brain. And there was a major change also in him. He saw certain things differently. His empathy shot up to levels that I've never seen. It was a mixed bag of consequences, of course, but there was a change in attitude. And this change zigzagged, went up and down, but it actually, to a large degree, stayed with him. So two models, different people, different circumstances, different ages. If we bring it to the collective level, sorry, I'm moving a little bit from the sun, but I don't think it's very successful. I'm on a small ledge here, so I cannot move too much. Maybe I'll take a break and show you what's on the other side. So yeah, that's where I'm sitting. And I'm thinking on a collective social level, there will be a change, but it will be small. It won't be, the society won't reform to a new society. There will be changes that are sustainable. It's a long enough and major enough crisis. I'm thinking about, though, also the term state-dependent learning. We tend to learn things in a certain set of circumstances. Time of day, place, smells we have, things we eat, people we are with. And cognitive psychology found that we retain those learnings, and the closest, when we have to display the new learning, the closest we are to the original environment state that we learn them in, the more we will be able to recall and display the new learnings. So I think there is something in here too, in a collective level. So we're learning activities, we're learning new habits, we're learning new ways of thinking about ourselves and the world in a certain and very extreme state, or set of circumstances. So we cannot expect that when things go mostly to normal, that we will retain all these learnings. But I think many of us, probably not most, but many of us will retain some. So there will be a small change happening, I think. Definitely in some individuals, there will be some changes, changing in priorities and values in life, because it's a big enough trauma, I think. About the social level, I don't think major changes. Maybe, optimistically, I can say maybe countries will learn to cooperate more and retain this for times of crisis. So we see in South Africa gangs are suddenly cooperating, gangs who killed each other cooperating and distributing food together to needy, because the situation became so crucial that there wouldn't be anything to fight for. There wouldn't be turf to fight for if they didn't decide to cooperate. Nobody expected it to happen. 30 years, nobody saw such a thing. So it's kind of like a miracle. Maybe that will continue to some degree if there won't be a major flare-up. It hasn't been in the news much, but Israel and Palestinian authorities, and even Israel and Gaza, been collaborating much more than in normal times. And Israel been sending medical support, and especially doctors, to Palestinian hospitals to help with knowledge and equipment. And that's happening. Now, I remember after the Oslo agreements, combatants from both sides, Israeli military and militants from the Palestinian side, started having patrols together. They were patrolling together the borders. And that was for me a complete amazing thing, because it never happened. And these are people who were shooting at each other before, and now there in two cars next to each other with guns, with a common goal. And that was in the early 90s. I was extremely touched and moved and optimistic, definitely. And most of you know what happened later. Now, did things go exactly back to where they were? To a degree, yes, but the memory of this, I think, it still stays somehow, somewhere, that it's possible, but it's not practiced. And I think that will be kind of the mix that we can expect. Wow, it's been over 10 minutes. Time to stop. Be good, be well, breathe. Breathe fresh air. Ciao.